Name 3 musical groups made up of biological brothers.
The Jackson 5.
1.
Are you talking of
Global, doesn't matter.
I think the Jackson 5. I don't know what to place Kabaka's group because he has, I'll just say Kabaka and family. Cannot to the Kabaka musician. He's a musician. He has big hits.
Really?
Doing this, the number you are calling is not available. He sang that song.
Hello once again. A super welcome to yet another exciting edition of Talk with a Lawyer. My guest today is a legal practitioner turned politician. He has attended various short courses and academic conferences in the United Kingdom and South Africa. He has written many scholarly published works in international law, constitutional law, consumer protection law, and human rights law. He was once a lecturer in the University of Calabar. Also, he served as special assistant to the former Edo State Governor on Public Affairs and also Commissioner for Information and Orientation. Barrister Adaze Andrew Ewanta, a super warm welcome to Talk with Oloye. Thank you very much for taking our time to be in our program today. Thank you.
It's a pleasure to be here this evening.
Okay. You know what I'm wondering? Like, blah, 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 a little bit about you. A lecturer, legal practitioner, all these things, why go into politics? What attracted you into politics? Because I don't understand. Because these days, you say politics for the stubborn people who used to say Jagoda. And with all So tell us, my viewers want to know why Andrew Adaze politics.
I think some of these things are genetic and generational. I say genetic because when I look at my maternal lineage, my mom's father was a regional minister in the 60s.
Oh, really? Yeah.
And my dad's father was a councillor about that same time. In the then Akugbe District Council, which is now Umude local government area, where my own father coincidentally became the first chairman of the local government. So, in terms of political background, I think that is where the inspiration came from. That's why I said it's generational, because at some point I now realized that my grandfathers are not around, and there was need for me to be part of what the likes of my father and others. And it will surprise you that I started politics not actively 96. So I've been in it since 96 as a young man. And at some point, even in 2016, when Obaseki indicated interest to run for governor, at that time I was ripe enough to have had an application to run for the office of the governor of Edo State. The political party, I think People's Democratic Change, PDC, offered me the ticket. Then nationally, normally, I had a series of discussions and I felt, yes, this man, is eminently qualified. And also to view it from another angle, I was involved in student union politics at different times.
Okay.
I was involved in lands. At some point, I was coordinating their, liaison office. I got a place for them as a liaison officer for lands, and at the level of my law faculty, I even became the law sign president, came contested election.
Oh my God! So
it's
been there, you've been there.
I've occupied
journey.
Political offices like senior legislative assistant to the speaker.
Wow.
Yeah, that was between 2009 and 2011. Then until recently, I was active in my work as a lecturer until Obaseki appointed me his spokesperson. After that, I became a commissioner in his government, occupied two different positions. And the rest, as I say, is history.
Okay, thank you very much.
But what are your thoughts on the current state of politics in the States in general? So,
I think there's a paradigm shift, and not just a paradigm one, but also a generational shift. In the build-up to the Edo 2024 governorship election, there was a clamor for us not just to talk about power shift in terms of moving from Edo South to Edo Central, but the generational aspect. The baby boomers were the ones there before now. The millennials, the Shomolers, the Usugos, even the Obasakis, even the Asway Udalos, because they belong to the baby boomers generation. So I felt that people of my own generation, that's the Generation X, those born after 1965 or between 1965 and 1980, because I felt we had come of age to take our own destinies in our hands and provide leadership at the level of the state government. And that was one of the things that inspired me supporting the present governor of Edo State, the tomorrow economy. And we were very clear that much as he may have been from that area where clamor for power shift should talk towards, but there was also need to consider the fact that this man belongs to our generation.
okay.
And the exiting generation was that of Aswai Udalo. So it was on the basis of that some of us saw him as a preferred candidate to support, and we threw our weight behind him. And by the grace of God, we won that election. And the Edo people, the vote of Edo people. It was a combination or a conspiracy of God's grace and Edo people's votes that gave him that opportunity to serve as governor.
Thank you very much. Okay, the next question. How can Nigeria encourage more young people, youths, to participate in politics just like you did? We need more vibrant youth like yourself. So what can be done to really like encourage these people to participate?
You've had a series of policy statements government has made in the past, but I think the most profound was this legislation, not too young law, and the act of the National Assembly.
Okay.
It tends to protect the interest of young aspirants. And if you ask me, there's nothing that government can do in that area. But I think it is for people of our generation and the younger generation, as the Generation Y and the Gen Z, to know that politics is what determines everything in life, right? Your laws are made by politicians, lawmakers.
Yes.
Right? Your judges are appointed by politicians.
Okay.
How you park your car is a function of law, right? The money government spends, a whole lot of politics go into it. And a place like Nigeria where everything seems political, you want employment, no one. So I think there's need for our young people to be involved in politics. It goes beyond saying, on election day I'll come out and vote. And let's even, for the purpose of argument, look at the voting history of our states. You discover that from time immemorial, our people have always been very conscious politically. But unfortunately, lately, when you look at the the last governorship election was low voter turnout, particularly in areas where the rain did not fall. That sounded a bit alarming. But in a place like Benin City, there was this heavy downpour that lasted for hours. One could explain that, yes, that may have accounted for why people didn't turn out in the mass. Because a person who is asthmatic was under the weather, so there was no way a person like that could have come out in that heavy rain. It was a storm that the two local government to take Benin City. But that is not to explain why we have this issue of voter apathy. So political participation, the role government can play in that regard is to do more voter education, make our young people who have turned 18 to see why they should get their PVCs, to see why even those with their PVCs, why they should be part of the electoral process. Because the kind of school and the quality of schools you attend is a function of who becomes governor, who becomes your lawmaker. So that's why it's very important for young people to be part of that process. And when young people now start showing interest in elective politics, it will take those young people out there as voters to bring them in.
Okay.
And to also protect them
and to encourage them too.
Exactly.
That's okay. Thank you very much. So who has been the most influential figure in your political journey?
I think I will say my late father.
There are good ways of
my dad is, my late father is, during his lifetime, let me introduce you properly. Honorable Cletus Barr Andrew Ewanta. I saw him as somebody that did not allow the lust for money, this future lucre, to influence institutions in politics. He was a community mobilizer. He was a man loved by his people. When I traced my ancestral home back to Ola Town, the only business there that he's thriving was a farm he established. He had the opportunity of setting up his farm, but he thought about the need to bring development back home. He was able to attract the water, project there. I'm talking about in the 80s. And at that time, this man was a public servant of crying out loud. And as God will have it, he became the first local government chairman. Though during the military era, then he used to call them sole administrators. So he didn't really have councillors to work with. And he was there for 3 months. And he made lasting impact. The present secretariat, he prepared that site. When you have the secretariat of Uno there, along the express, a hall, is the headquarters, and we now have a very beautiful secretariat complex. So that was my dad's idea. And apart from that, the only market in my hometown, he built it. There were other things he did. And I said, if a man who was in office for that short could make this impact, it therefore means that when I go into politics, I'll make a greater impact. So that, of course, created inspiration. And don't forget, I said his father was once a councillor. And as a young lad, I used to sit at the feet of my grandfather, my paternal grandfather. Then my maternal grandfather also was an inspiration. Great man. He was great Odige. He was one of those who encouraged the late Anthony Enaru to come into politics, because at that time Enaru was a journalist. So he gave him some inspiration. He was quite close to the likes of T.U.S. Benson and all others. So I think that's, for me, it's where the inspiration came from. But when you now take it further, you discover that there were people along my political journey who provided some sort of support and inspiration, the likes of General Ugomodia, even the great leader, Tony Adeni, I saw him as somebody who provided inspiration. Then, of course, our current leader, Comrade Andrew Adaze Ewanta, now senator, also inspired me. And even my former boss of Basaki at some point, but it's quite unfortunate that he was not a leader that had that ability to communicate with his followers. And that is why, for me, communication is key. That's the great thing. That was his own tragic flaw, And this idea of not patronizing people, or rather rewarding people, because for me, politics is about loyalty. But there's always a price you have to pay for loyalty. Your ability to reward your followers. A situation where a government decides to give all the contracts out to his friends in Lagos. Where were these friends during the electionary process? So I believe this present governor will take a cue from previous governors we've had in the state, who took care of those that stood by them. And when I say take care, brought them into the loop. Allow them, because the idea of supporting the candidates is to be part of the process or the change you are aspiring to be, you are aspiring for. So it's quite unfortunate if you put in so much, right? And at the end of the day, you now discover that this man has another plan. I give you an example. Danobe and others who supported the government in 2020, he didn't do anything for them. He made promises like he will give them room to bring commissioners and all of that. But they were completely sidelined. He was far more interested in the party structure. So for me, that is not the kind of model I want to put out in politics. I want to put out a model of gratitude. I want to put out a model of good leadership, which I can boldly say that the likes of Shomole and Co. exhibited when they were in government. The likes of Ogumodia Ali exhibited when they were in government. And my advice to my older brother, the governor of Edo State, is to stand on the shoulders of these giants. Look at the mistakes they made. Look at the mistakes his immediate predecessor made, and avoid those mistakes.
Okay, do you plan to run for public office in the near future? What are your plans politically? Or you want to continue academically as a lecturer? I see, I drove this afternoon. You need to run for something.
For me, I don't think I have that plan for now. Because even last year, when the former governor of Mayors was 78, I paused to think about it. And at some point, I just said, no, I'm not coming for that. I think I have this gift of supporting people. I prefer to support people. I prefer to, serve as a spokesperson and market them. I think we all have our areas of strength.
Yeah.
A good political marketer.
I know.
But if I now want to now run, who will now market me? So that's where my fear lies. And again, I don't have so much of resources to run for public office because you must have a deep pocket in this part of the world to run for public office.
But what if someone decide to sponsor you? Like maybe,
I think that's where the challenge is because the government would have sponsored me if I admitted last year or accepted last year that I don't want to be anybody's puppet either.
Thank you. Don't go away. We'll talk to Leah after this short break.
Hey lovelies! No, this is not another episode of Stella Damasa's Diaries or Ask Stella. It's something even better. Want a hint? Yep, Stella Damasa's TV is officially launching very soon right here on YouTube. Get ready for amazing, top-notch quality entertainment from feature films to series, shorts, documentaries, and so much more. I'm so excited for this journey because I get to share amazing content with you and also feature many of the fresh and talented actors in Nollywood, a lot of them who have been trained by me in my academy and Actors Playhouse. Filmmaking is a business, and as a producer, I completely understand the desire and need to cast established and well-known actors. But as a well-known actor who remembers the hustle and struggle to get to this point, I've decided to launch a platform where I can give new actors who have been trained a chance to do what they love and be seen by the world. So, welcome to Stella Damasa's TV, the home of refreshing and excellent entertainment. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on your notifications because Santa might just have a gift for you right here on Stella Damasa's TV YouTube channel.
Welcome back. You are just joining us, I guess, the barrister Andrew Adaze Ewanta. How are you doing? Do you enjoy yourself?
Very fine, thank you. Beautiful time with you.
Beautiful. We'll just go straight to, they call it only Memory McKay, Q&A, name the music, and so on. Okay. Name 3 musical groups made up of biological brothers.
The Jackson 5.
1.
Are you talking of
Doesn't matter. Global, doesn't matter.
I think the Jackson 5. I don't know what to place Kabaka's group because he has, I'll just say Kabaka and family. Cannot to the Kabaka. He's a musician. He has big hits.
Really?
Do this, the number you are calling is not available. He sang that song.
Okay.
He even performed during the inauguration.
Oh, that's great.
And I have to be honest, I have to stop here. I've given you one foreign, I've given you one local.
I said 3.
At least I've answered. If you
Go
score
to P Square.
but they are not okay because they are historical now because they were once together anyway.
Okay.
Thanks for adding Peace Square for me.
That's good. What was your favorite school teacher during the secondary school and why?
During my secondary school, we had a teacher called Mrs. I think my primary. Was it secondary you asked?
Doesn't matter. I asked secondary, but if you forgot about, we're very flexible.
I think primary shows my memory is sharp.
Okay.
Yeah, primary was Mrs. Oweke, who after we leave school in the evening, we also went to our house and we had lesson, your lesson teacher.
Okay.
So I think why some of us are tough was we at some point we had lesson teachers that would come to the house to teach us. At some point we also had lesson teachers whose houses we went to. We remember Chukusa of the 70s and 80s. We had
wait.
Chukusa there.
You attended Motor Primary School?
Yeah, I attended the Motor
Oh,
okay. So I think it was fun growing up, but I think Mrs. Enrique was a great inspiration. So me and my older siblings
that's good.
were part of her lesson there.
Okay. I know you're not Ewanta, but you just said you're Ewanta. So growing up, what was your favorite cartoon character?
I think my cartoon character that I would say was it Super Ted or was it Ghost Spirit? I think Ghost Spirits are.
Okay.
Yeah, Speed Razor, yeah. Speed Razor, yes.
Okay, Speed Razor. Did you talk about Tom and Jerry?
And Tom and Jerry, yes, but I was not a fan of pets, so that was why it didn't have any appeal. It didn't have any appeal to me, There were many of them, Poppy, there were many of them, even Super Ted,
Super Ted,
the little Voltron, the film of the universe, with his blazing sword.
That's okay, where is your ideal location for your vacation?
If you ask me, I will tell you that.
Okay, let me just do 3. Before I just said one, but just give us 3 between Nigeria and outside the country.
I think within Nigeria, Lakwe Golf Resorts in Lekki would have come as. I don't play golf, but I just love that serene environment. We've gone for an escape trip there once, and I was quite impressed to know that we have such a place. I think my second will be the Table Mountains in Cape Town, South Africa. And
yes, we continue. You did 1 or 2 degrees, something in South Africa.
Then I think I've never been to the Isle of Man. I think that would be my 3rd location for vacation, the Isle of Man, because they have some good, places where you can just relax.
Okay. This is my last question. I always ask my guests, who would you like to trade places with for a day? Who would you like?
So let's trade places with.
For a day. Some people say Nelson Mandela. Some people say, I think other people say some say they want to trade places with Obasa that they like to, but you have different. Someone who says.
So you are saying these persons can either be dead
or alive.
I think for every person I would have wanted to. Trade places with for a day is the late Obafemi Awolowo. I've read a lot of his books. I've taken out time to look at his political trajectory, and I think that's one man that, as they say, is the best president Nigeria never had.
Yeah.
And to that extent, he's one man that still basically inspires me. He was a very brilliant lawyer. He was a very dedicated politician, and he knew what loyalty was in politics, and he rewarded loyalty. So if you ask me, in the history of our country, who is the best politician we've had? Next to him is Chief Tunde.
Thank you very much. I think we've come on to the end of the program. Barr Andrew Adaze Ewanta. Thank you very much.
Thanks for having me.
I really appreciate it.
Thanks for watching. Until next time, I'm Oloye. Peace.